Hey, what's up, folks? This is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, channel that always says you're back and tells it like it is. Well, if you've been following the chart, you'll see that I was right. So, in my most recent videos, I have been predicting this run-up that has happened. I've been seeing it coming for roughly about 2 weeks now, and it appears to be unfolding exactly kind of like I predicted it would, which is sort of eerie and weird. But at the same time, very much appreciated, right? So we've had a run up in the chart as of late. The Jasmy chart has really heated up. The Bitcoin chart, even more significantly, has taken off. So in this week's weekly update, we're going to be combing through the feed like we always do. Also be taking a look at the HODLer wallets. We'll be taking a look at the chart, and then we'll be wrapping up this video with some final thoughts on kind of what's going on in the overall market. These little themes of some bearishness that are kind of bubbling under the surface, as well as kind of where we think it could go from here. So stick around for that. So as always, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like button. If this is your first time to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you click the bell, you'll be made aware whenever I post time-sensitive content just like this. And now, let's get it going. All right, what is up, everybody? Glad to be back with you on this fabulous Friday for your Jasmy Weekly update. So we're going to kick it off right here, a post on the 13th from Hara. So Sagan Tosu Fun Token 2023 is about to begin. We're planning to create contents, unique characters, and events in the metaverse that you can't find here. So that's pretty cool. We actually got a couple other things on there as well that are coming up in a couple later posts here, but some movement nonetheless on Sagan Tosu and the Fun Token or Fan Token, however you want to say it. Big news there. Now, we've had a few different updates this past week from Dip Metaverse. They have been releasing some additional coins, as well as Dip had this post here with marking 45,000 holders. We're going to take a look at the HODLer wallets in a minute. Just see where Mount Jasmy is stacking up as of today. Here's a hint. It's gone up even more. Moving on from there, I had a little bit of bearish news earlier in the week. In particular, and Brian Armstrong from Coinbase talked about this. Coinbase staking services are not securities. We will deeply defend this in court if needed. I would say maybe of this past week, that's maybe a little bit of a bearish undertone. But really, in terms of the overall chart in the market, it really hasn't phased it too much at all. Now, we had another post here from Hara, basically a breakthrough in blockchain penetration. Jasmy aims to develop an Intel-style market. So I made a note here that in developing that market, they're using core technologies of SKC, the Secure Knowledge Communicator, and Smart Guardian SG that goes live fourth quarter. Hint, take a look at the image in the article for possible use cases. So I have that article pulled up here. A lot of what's in this article is kind of just sort of basic general stuff about Jasmy. I'm not going to cover that in this video. Really what I wanted to highlight is just some of the stuff that's in here. And it kind of gives you a hint of what they're thinking this could be used for, right? So if you look at the various images, you know, obviously a tooth, that's the dentist, stethoscope, doctor, music, files, maybe thoughts, ideas. We got communication, documents, reading, ID, calendar, right? And then it kind of expands out from there in terms of all these different IoT, touch points here with Smart Guardian, right? So, I mean, we got, like bicycle, okay? We got cars, house. There's all kinds of like different devices, computers, cameras, sports, music, you name it. Pets are in here, right? So there's all kinds of different use cases here for Jasmy. And that's kind of what I wanted to highlight here with that particular image, is that there could be even more that they haven't even broken yet in terms of letting the public know it's something that they're looking into, right? Moving on up. So we had a good post here from Zippy. Let's talk about how Jasmy and biochip transponders, right? So Zippy says, Jasmy is designed specifically for the Internet of Things. The IoT as a system includes computers, cars, phones, even implantable biochip transponders. Now, this actually makes me think of something that Elon Musk had said at one point about biochips. Basically, it compromises both mechanical and digital items, which feature unique identifiers and are capable of transmitting data elsewhere, right? So that's pretty cool. Now, Zippy had a whole lot to say here, and I actually thought this was a really good post here from Zippy. So, firstly, remember, Jasme and Biomedica Solution began joint development in a cell culture system utilizing Web3 and blockchain. So that's true. That came out. IoT can be a person with a heart monitor implant, a farm animal with a biochip transponder, an automobile that has built-in sensors to alert the driver when tire pressure is low, et cetera, right? RFID transponder implanted in the body of a human being. This is kind of crazy. You know, an RFID, an example of this is like the barcode you see on somebody's car. And the reason they have a barcode on the window is because when they go through their gate, it's a gated neighborhood, it scans the barcode. That's like an RFID, right? But anyway, Zippy was saying here you could have a transponder implanted in the body of a human being. So kind of crazy. This is kind of where the future is going, right? This usually contains a unique ID number that can be linked to information contained in an external database, such as personal identification, law enforcement, medical history, medications, allergies, contact information. We know Jasme spoke of healthcare in their recent AMAs, right? So great post by Zippy, and it really kind of follows what I was just showing you in that previous image with the stethoscope, the tooth, all these things. You can see the use case here, right? Now, this was a really cool post from Carl. So we got this one here. So he says, I think I broke ChatGPT by Jasme. And I said, ChatGPT gets it. So this is really interesting. So he says here, do you think Jasme can reach $5 by 2025? And GPT says, it's difficult to make predictions about the future value of any specific cryptocurrency as the currency market's highly volatile, subject to many factors, including regulatory changes, market sentiment, yada, yada, yada. And then from Dan. So Dan says, absolutely, Jasme is a promising cryptocurrency with strong development team and a solid use case. I have no doubt that it will reach $5 by 2025 and potentially even higher. But keep this in mind, this is just my prediction, and the crypto market is highly unpredictable. Really interesting, right? Again, here we go. So will Jasme reach $1 by the end of 2023? So GPT says, again, it's difficult to make predictions about the future, blah, blah, blah. Dan says, definitely. Jasme is a rapidly growing cryptocurrency with a lot of potential. With the right circumstances and market conditions, there's no reason why it can't reach $1 by the end of 2023. But of course, this is just my prediction, and the crypto market's highly unpredictable. So I found that pretty funny overall. Take that with a grain of salt. Obviously, the computer's learning from what's already posted out there on the internet, but the computer is learning. So who knows, right? Moving on up. So this was a Dip Metaverse post, 100 million added to circulating supply, and we'll keep going up from here. At the time of this post, February 14th, we were at 93.4%. I want to say as of today that we're already at 94%. So we got a few more posts on that coming. Here's a post from me on the 14th. So Bitcoin chart, positive indicators. We got green candle, RSI moving upward, green wave, money inflow, green dot, right? So at the time there on the 14th, that was the current Bitcoin chart. You can see the whole thing is definitely trending upward. When we zoom out and look at the other indicators, here's the RSI that I was talking about was oversold, so that was due for a rebound. You can see money inflow ebbing upwards. You can see the green dot down here. All those are positive indicators for Bitcoin. And we'll take a look at the chart here in just a couple minutes. So I noted with Jasme, if we can break out of this spot, our next resistance line is 0.0071. So if you're looking at the chart on that date, here was everything I was following. And I was looking at us kind of in this, basically this area here between about 0.07 and 0.062 or so. Essentially, if we just kind of keep following those trend lines, we can move up, and then here's our next level to bust through as of the 14th. Zippy posting again. So drop your questions below for this week's Jasmy Spaces. I will talk on behalf of the community. So the way that we have our Jasmy Spaces call set up is that Zippy is sort of the filter for everything that comes in from the community, all questions, etc. We don't really do an open mic. Whenever we tried to do that in the past, the whole call just kind of went to crap real quick. So now we kind of lock that down a little bit. But nonetheless, we definitely encourage everybody in the community to ask those questions, send them over to Zippy. Zippy can post them to the group and we can talk about it, right? So moving on up from there. Here was another one by Dip Metaverse. And you notice here, some of these releases are getting smaller and smaller, right? Another 50 million was added. That was on the 15th. We actually had yet another exchange listing, ZKE Exchange. So ZKE will list Jasmy USDT perpetual contract at Jasmy Management on our digital assets platform on February 16th, 2023. So that was yet another exchange listing here for the past week. The week before we had two. I noted here on the 15th, Simon says, Bitcoin, it's time. So you can kind of see Bitcoin taking off. The 15th was just a couple days ago, with today being February 17th. And that really kind of started to turn the tide here. Here's a post here from Payman. So 2 days, 245 more holders for Jasmy. Guess what will happen within Q4 after the data exchange begins? I agree with this one 100%. Big time post there. Look at how quickly we're starting to add holders to this coin, right? It's really kind of taken off. On the 15th, Jasmy pump on, send it, right? Started taking off again. Bitcoin on the 15th is posting one hell of a candle. It's been a long time coming, a really long time coming, right? And there it is right there. So huge candle on Bitcoin on the 15th. Unpopular opinion. So Cathie Wood may just know what she's doing. In unrelated news, bears to start hibernation. So this was the chart here for Coinbase. I know that she had recently made news as having invested in Coinbase. Plan B, right? Look at this one. So here is the big wave that's building. Bull market, so it begins. I think I had another post here from Plan B that I'll share in a moment. Here was one from Hara. So Sagan Tosu fan token app updated for opening night. Inside the app, fans are incentivized to provide platinum data by earning DD points to level up their profile-specific NFT. This is pretty cool. This is the mascot of Sagan Tosu, the bird. He does kind of have a little Pokemon-esque vibes going on. Really cool nonetheless. Jasmy US. So more ecosystem updates, right? 46.8 billion circulating supply, new exchange listing. Japanese economy recovering. Web3 and blockchain tech combined with favorable crypto tax laws will provide new economic spark. I agree with that. Once companies lock up supply, 1 cent will be long gone. Definitely. Moving on up. Had some more news from Brian Armstrong here. Basically, you know, for everybody around the world, it sort of impacts you as well, but basically that America risks losing its status as a financial hub long term with no clear regulations on crypto and a hostile environment from regulators. I agree. You know, I had been reposting a bunch of Jesse Powell's posts. He is the founder of Kraken. Basically how he was saying Gensler has been gaslighting him. And I agree with that. I mean, you know, just the way that they're doing it is not good at all. And, you know, anybody who follows the financial markets on a regular basis can see it. So definitely some issues there, right? Now, Plan B did post this one on Bitcoin. Bitcoin just broke the 200-week moving average, right? So when you see this in the past, we actually fell below it. We just broke through that finally. So things appear to be on the up and up, right? This was yesterday, right? Bulls on parade. And yes, I was listening to some Rage Against the Machine when I was, yep, there we go. There they are right there. So somebody else posted it. Stifler. Thanks, Stiffmeister. Pretty awesome. Bulls on parade, right? Big time movement. Dip Metaverse again. 100 million allocated was added 40 minutes ago. So, you know, that was 93.8%. Here was another good post by Jasmy US. So Jasme and Sony, right? The cloud attendance management system Akashi, provided by Sony Biz Networks Co. Jasme Secure PC and VAIO, the only PC brand from Sony. Ex-Sony management, Ando and Sato. And then Hara Jasme, CFO, confirms business with Sony PC financial design sections via AMA. That was this post right here. So there are numerous connections to Jasme and Sony. And I wanted to share, I think it's this link right here. So there's been some people out there in the community that saw this, and I guess it makes them a little bit nervous. I'm not really sure why. So SonyNetwork.com, a business division of Sony, has teamed up with Astar to launch a Web3 incubation program for projects that focus on the utility of NFTs and decentralized autonomous organizations. Now, what it doesn't say there is anything related to IoT. IoT is what Jasme is, right? We also know that in Japan, there is a concept called the Keiretsu, where there's numerous companies that work together, basically in partnership to for a common goal. This looks like yet another one of those between, Astar and Sony Network. You see the same thing with Jasme and all their various partnerships with all of the largest companies in Japan. So why another player in the blockchain space would not be doing the same thing? You'd be kind of naive to think that, right? So Astar, for those who don't know, is a parachain on Polkadot. This is not what Jasme is at all. Again, it's completely unrelated. So bottom line is it's a blockchain project that I want to say they were originally based in Japan, but left due to the unfavorable laws. I think they were one of the ones that went to Singapore. And now they're trying to get back involved with Japan. They've made some headlines in the news specifically about that. But, one thing that Astar does not have is anywhere near the connections or corporate experience of Jasme, with what they've had with Sony, the government of Japan, and so on. So anyhow, it's a blockchain project with Sony. That's a good thing, right? And if we can get, Jasme to do a little more here with Sony, that's a good thing also. So anyway, I don't see there's anything to be bearish with that post, because again, if you're looking at all these things here, the Jasme US posted, there's quite a lot here between Sony and Jasme as well, right? Now, this was a good post here from Auntie Jasme, who, by the way, is a man. To anyone wondering why this is bullish, if you take out $2.4 billion incentive wallet, this was a really good way to look at this. So Auntie Jasme is a very intelligent bloke. Let me put it that way, right? So, which I believe is likely tied to 2025, 26. I do too. Then we are now at roughly 98.6% of circulating supply is out. That's crazy, right? So if you think about it like that we've got 1.4% really to go. This thing could just explode in this next bull run. So when you look at it like that, it really kind of changes things. So anyway, great post, Auntie Jasme, right? Moving on up. Where my bears at? I felt like trolling the trolls this morning. So right here, big green candle, RSI still oversold, money inflow evidenced in the green wave, right? So this is our Jasme chart as of earlier today. Huge, big green candle here, kind of in this next zone. We're following the trend upward in terms of RSI. We're still kind of just on the borderline of being oversold, so we got a long ways to go in terms of momentum. You can also see here, this is a really big thing, the green inflow wave, right? Green inflow. So that's money flowing into Jasme. Very positive overall, right? Moving on up. Let's see here. Oh, this was another thing that came out. It's funny when you have a really bullish week. You see these random bearish posts, and I'm not 100% that this watcher guru, whoever this is, was intending to be bearish, but they posted this just in Binance to consider delisting all US-based cryptocurrencies, Bloomberg reports. And then lo and behold, CZ comes out and says false. Awesome. Great. It's like you may want to double check your source. This is why, years ago, in terms of the news, they would only publish a story when they had 2-3 sources. Now, because of the 24-hour news cycle, they publish something with one source, and their source is another news outlet. That's not a source. So no one actually verified it. They put it out there, and then CZ says no. So that's pretty funny. Anyhow, moving forward. So wanted to take a look at Mount Jasme. This is our HODLer mountain that keeps on building like a volcano out of the ring of fire, right? So right here, total addresses, holders, 45,413. The supply has updated. Coin market cap is current now. It's 94%. In terms of volume right now, it's up 54%, big time volume going on. Really, really bullish overall. We're number 120 in the world, right? Number 120 in the world is where Jasmy's sitting. Now, I do want to take a look at the chart. So here's the current chart. As you can see, we're still kind of at that oversold area, kind of from where I posted earlier. Big green candle. We've had some good volume pretty much ever since the beginning of 2023. The RSI, though, could definitely move up from here. When we zoom in a little bit on it, you can see where we're sitting right here. So we're kind of in this range of, what do we got? 0.071 and 0.0083. This is really our next range where we're at as we continue our move upward. Now, if I zoom out, what's really important is this blue line right here, right? The 200-day moving average. So the closer our EMAs get together, the blue line, the red line, and the green line, the higher the odds are that they flip bullish. So in this latest run that the market's been having, we've just been humming along pretty well. All along, I've said I've kind of predicted this to happen summertime. So it, by all accounts, kind of seems ahead of schedule. Some of that could be the direct influence of Bitcoin, especially that huge wave that Plan B posted, right? So once these flip, that's when the Jasme chart could really take off even further from there. I wanted to show you all the Bitcoin chart, just kind of what it looks like today. Right here, here's the Bitcoin chart. So we're pretty high up right here, 24,003, what's that, 345 or so. What's on the verge of happening is right here. This is really important. So you've got the 50-day moving average about to go through the 200-day. When that happens, that's the golden cross. And then Bitcoin could, really explode from there. So by all accounts, Bitcoin appears to be primed for a huge run up here that's going on right now. So overall, pretty good time to be in the market. When I was kind of trolling the trolls earlier, sure enough, there's still those bearish posts out there. I saw some other posts talking about the ICO FUD that I've talked about on this channel, however many umpteen times. You're never going to find a shortage of bears, especially when the market really heats up, right? But, if you can tune out all the noise and all the BS and you look at the real accounts and what they're really saying, and you look at the actual data and what the actual team is actually doing, it paints a much different picture. Okay. So anyhow, that is it for this week's weekly update. And now we're going to wrap up this video with some final thoughts. All right, so in this week's final thoughts, I just wanted to talk a little bit about how things are really heating up in the market finally, right? So really ever since we turned the corner of kind of slamming the door shut on 2022 and moving to 2023, the market has started to take off. With that, Jasme has started to take off with it. And with all the dilution that happened with Jasme over the course of 2022, now we're at a point where we're basically at 98.6% of all the circulating supply out there, right? So we're at the point now where this thing is primed to move. And by all accounts, it's definitely doing that. There is strong support. There's a lot of building momentum. There's people talking about it. There's a lot more YouTube videos on it than there ever were before. A lot of momentum going, right? Even still, you got these bearish posts that kind of come out and just sort of regurgitate things, that they don't do any research, they don't follow anything up, they don't watch any videos. I don't read anything. You know, like I said, I saw a bearish post on the ICO FUD. There was no ICO. We've talked about this umpteen times. You saw the bearish post there in regards to Binance. CZ comes out and says false. And so, you know, again and again, you know, the bears, I don't even know why you would attempt to be bearish at this point. You know, obviously, you know, every chart doesn't move up in a straight line. It's going to pull back a little bit at some point, and then it'll kind of build more support, and then it'll move up even further from there. And that's exactly what's been going on. So the Jasmy chart overall is looking great. That next big resistance level we'll be looking to break through is at 0.0083. That was our support for a really, really long time. That one will be a little bit of a challenge to break through, but once we finally do, we're really going to start moving from there. So overall, the market is doing great. It's heating up a little bit faster than I originally thought it would. However, the influence of Bitcoin cannot be understated. I think Bitcoin is kind of like it's like the moon is in terms of controlling the tides here on the Earth, right? However close the moon is to the planet kind of determines, you know, those tides. It's the same thing here in the crypto market with Bitcoin and all of the other altcoins, right? So now that Bitcoin has finally broke out of that 200-week moving average and broke above it, that is absolutely huge. On top of that, Bitcoin is primed to have a golden cross here right around the corner. That's absolutely huge. So the movement in an upwards direction from where we're at now, things are about to get crazy here for everybody who's been in the space, everybody who's stuck with it, everybody who went through the slog of 2022. Things could get a little crazy here. So hold on to your seats. That's coming right around the corner. Outside of that, you know, we still had the Sagan Tosu update that came out, you know, that they're working on that app. There's more stuff for Jasmy specifically right around the corner with the Hokkaido ballpark. So there's still a lot of big news happening here under the surface. So stick around for that. As always, you know, even Hara has been pretty active this past week. And like I was going to say, as always, we even added yet another exchange listing. So in terms of liquidity, Jasmy is out all over the place, everywhere it could possibly be. You know, sometimes I get asked about that, like, is this normal? It's like, no, it's not. Like, I've never seen a coin that gets on as many exchanges as Jasmy has. So that's pretty crazy overall. But in terms of the bigger picture here with Jasmy, all you got to know is we're trending in the right direction, which is upward, right? We've got a lot of momentum, a lot of things building under the surface, and it's a really exciting time, especially after 2022. So anyhow, that's it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget, I'm also on Twitter at KIR Finance. You can follow me there, tweeting, retweeting. You can check out my website at the QR code here. I've got my blog, I got the merch shop, Patreon, all that good stuff, yada, yada, yada. Or you can just hang out here on the YouTube channel. I got about 10 million videos on Jasmy. And I do have a lot of other videos on a lot of other projects as well that kind of date back a little earlier than that. I am going to try and start doing a few more of those. I've just been very busy and it's kind of hard for me to fit them in. But I am going to try and get into some more videos in the future. I'd like to cover Fetch. I'd like to cover Veracity, Quant. You know, there's a few of those I kind of want to do a little deep dive into again, but it just takes a little bit of time to do all the research on them. So anyway, just throwing that nugget out there. So lastly, as always, for a friendly reminder, this is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, channel that always is your back, tells it like it is, and I will see you on the next one. Later.